final trailer like he might be back.
Well, then Tommy's gonna have to rectify that because at the end of the day, he said he's leaving the process.
He said
I
he
think
won't
that
be
just
back.
might be old footage that they shot that you just see. Because if
Okay.
he makes a reappearance, then he's Lazarus, in my opinion. Because this don't make sense.
Tommy did say he's leaving the process, but Tyrone has speculated that he is at the end with somebody else. So I don't know.
That is very true. Didn't he say something? Okay, we'll have to go back and watch what Tyrone said. Yeah.
Maybe he'll come back. That exit didn't make any sense. So
yeah, because Cynthia, she gave him all she had. So now what's she gonna do?
And he didn't even tell her. You see, she found out when everybody else found out. They were
there
so
you
close.
Go.
And
said,
she found out right there with everybody else.
Just like you were saying, maybe he was like, I don't think she emotionally is going to be able to handle it, so I'm just going to let her find out.
See, y'all listen to Seaway. She going to have y'all out here like Corvaya'S just on the surface talking about money and stuff, and y'all not opening up. Don't, yeah. But y'all listen to Seaway.
Look, I didn't really get to chime in too much on the Corvaya'S, so I just feel like because you had a challenging childhood, I can empathize with that, but don't bring that energy to me. You got to work on what got you there and how you're going to deal with that. If you have a scarcity mindset or you feel like you need somebody that makes, $400,000 a year because you grew up in with some struggles, that sounds like a you problem. Don't put that over here on me. And I mean, listen, I don't have a problem with providing. I don't have a problem with working and taking care of my family. But if that's the space you're operating from, I still think you need to get healed from what that is, because you're still going to bring elements of those things into the relationship. So that's my little add-on.
It was interesting also that situation, because actually when she mentioned it, she kind of, and we all do this. She minimized what her mom actually did. She's like, and I want to know the fuller story of that. She said her mom didn't want to pamper her, so she moved out the house. Baby, it sounds like your mom got rid of you. I'm gonna be honest with you, and that's why you're so independent, because like it's before your time, and that could be a contributing factor. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying she says she has a great relationship. I'm not denying that at all. But that can be a little blind spot in terms of why she's so hell bent when she talks to men about provision. It's like, I can't be left, in a situation where I'm not being provided for. But, I said it earlier on, some women are looking for daddies and some men are looking for mommies because of what's happened in their youth. And when she told me that story, I was like, baby, I can see now, I can understand a little bit as well, because if someone, if your parent, moves you out before it's time because they don't want to pamper you, yeah, that's going to create that independent spirit that you have, and having to look after yourself and having to protect your own self as well before it's time. Yeah, it sounds like she was moved out. Go for it, Sophie. You want to go for it?
Yeah, to piggyback on that, it actually might create a codependent spirit within her, right? She said her mother pushed her out. Clearly before she was ready, because you don't need to be pushed out. If you're ready, you're going to fly, you're going to leave the nest, you're going to grow, you're going to have all the tools that you need to survive out here. So maybe when she was pushed out, again, we're speculating. We don't know exactly what happened, but based off of what she said, shows that she might be prone to be codependent. Even though she's on the exterior, looks like she's independent, but what she's looking for is someone she can highly depend on, financially specifically. We're not even talking about someone that's emotionally available for her, someone that is going to protect her and provide for her. She's looking strictly for financial means. From what we saw, that is what we get. And we all know that that's never enough. At the end of the day, if that person is not going to protect you emotionally, if he's not going to be there to be your just everything else besides the financial part, it's still not going to be enough. So when she left the nest, she probably left without money and security and had to live on very little means. And she said, I'm going to find that person that's going to fill this void. Maybe this show is I think this show really helps people reflect on who they are. I think it's a wonderful show to actually see yourself and hopefully do the work to change some of the inner things that you might be battling.
Love that. Appreciate that. That's good. That's a good breakdown as well. Good breakdown. Sorry, see what were you going to say, something?
I was going to say, she said something kind of sad that I don't know if people peep, but she said when she was pushed out, that was her mother's way of spoiling her. She has, and that to me was like a real like trauma response of trying to tell yourself that your mother was actually trying to do something good for you and it actually ended up spoiling you in your own way. I thought that was really sad that she had to turn that around in her head like that. Because to be honest, being kicked out too early is not a way of spoiling you in any way. I do know, I think Sophie and others said this, that this is a generational curse that we have to break. And I hope that we do break. But that's not spoiling your child, is kicking them out before, because our white counterparts and other races do not do that. They actually do the opposite. So I thought that was also pretty sad. And I do think her way of, coping with that is causing her to have relationships or wants in relationships that aren't necessarily the best. So.
Well, clearly Lyndon isn't being pushed out.
Well, that's why she had a hyper reaction to him, and that's why I said that's a blind spot. That's a blind spot for her. It's a hyper reaction. She says
that's what I said. And I feel like a lot of the women were kind of tussling about this on many channels. I don't see nothing wrong with the fact that she has a problem with him living with roommates, and it's like there's nothing wrong, right? Like in theory, right? If I'm 30-something years old, I'm not gonna go for a man that has a roommate usually, right? But it wouldn't be nothing that I would need to announce. I thought the fact that she felt that she needed to announce it to me was weird. It was weird then, and now we know why. I thought that was odd.
What if Lyndon has roommates because he wants to save money?
He's actually living with his little brother temporarily.
Is it to save, or because
he got put out? He got put on his he got put out of his apartment for whatever reason. I think they sold the property that he was living in, and he just hasn't had a chance between work to find a new place.
Okay. I mean,
she said, "Oh,
I would focus on the money."
Yeah, he has time to be on this show, so
me, I would focus more on what's in the account.
What you say now?
I would focus more on what's in the account before I decide if the man has a roommate because he really is not disciplined enough, or he has a roommate because maybe he doesn't stay home a lot and he wants to save. And he's saving his money so that whenever he has a wife, he can go and buy a house right away or whatever. Like, you don't know what people are about.
If he had gave any of those reasons, we would have probably been on board with him, but he just basically fumbled that and gave a bunch of excuses in the process, which from what we heard, I mean, it could be edited. He could have said some other things, but if he said any of those, I think a lot of us probably would have taken that better and looked at her like, calm down, But like that would be my thing. Like, I'm saving for a house more so than another apartment. I would have been like, oh, okay, I feel you.
No,
like,
what I'm trying to say is that some men are very low maintenance like that, right? Mm-hmm. So why is she looking? What I mean, like, if you're always
low maintenance,
what did you say?
What's low maintenance?
Like, maybe they don't stay home a lot, right? So they don't feel the need to have their
where is
apartment. He? I'm not saying Lyndon in general. I'm just saying
no, but I'm just saying if you're not home a lot, where are you? Is he at work?
He could be at work.
He could be traveling a lot. Club.
Or he could live in an expensive city and he's like, you know what? I can afford to have a 1-bedroom, but if I have a roommate for now until I get in a serious relationship, then I can make certain moves. Like, I don't know. I've seen men like that had roommates for a long time, but when they got to a point when they were dating seriously and they were willing to go into marriage, they bought houses. Like they had a lot of cash in their account.
Yeah.
They were
I get that, but like I just feel like the same way we say with women, right? Like, and Kojo and I joke and we have this little thing going, right? We're not climbing walls. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like, and this is me as a man talking, like, I don't feel like a woman should come to me and then I get ready to be stable. I think you should be stable because now I'm demonstrating what that stability would look like, because you need to see that I have the ability to take care of myself if you're going to enter into a relationship with me, right? So we're going to get together. Then you got to wait for me to get an apartment. You know, how long is that going to take? Am I actively looking? You know, I think it's just a lot of ifs and a lot of things where there's so many other issues in relationships that have to be worked out. I think some things just need to kind of be there. Now, again, if this is a temporary situation, everybody goes through things, right? You just need to be clear. Now, if you're in a financial situation and it's a temporary one, I don't think Ready to Love is the space for you. I'm just going to say that, right? Like if you're in transition and you're trying to get yourself together financially, then you probably need to sit out on this one. Do what you need to do, 6 months, 7 months, a year, whatever that time span is, and then you can get back out there, because you're not entering into a situation where you are really ready to love. You're not financially and relationally ready to love at 30 plus years old, and your girl wants to come and visit and your brother's in the next bedroom. You know, talk about, can y'all keep it down, please? Yeah, I just don't, you know.
The walls are thick, please. The walls are thick.
Thin. The walls is thin.
Right, not thick.
Not thick, Kojo, they thin. So
they're thick.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm just gonna have to say it. You know, like I think, you know, we gotta be able to call a thing a thing. Like we could call y'all ladies out, and you know, y'all know me. I'll take the heat. I'll say the things that need to be said if I feel like the ladies are moving mad. But I really do not have a problem with Corvaya with this issue. Her delivery was horrible. You know, horrible. Her delivery was for the intergalactic garbage landfill, the way she delivered the message, right? But the facts are the facts. He should not be low maintenance and on Ready to Love. You know, you're living in a town in Miami. Yeah, you know, in your 20s, sure, you can date and have fun and have roommates. That, please, we all did. Like, that's what happens. But like, there's stages in life. And at that 30-ish stage, if you want to be out there, you got to have, you know, get yourself a studio. A studio.
You know what? I'll give you that one. I'm not a man, so I wouldn't. I'm not a man in my.
I disagree with him, so I don't.
Yeah,
worry,
that's what I say. I'm not fully on board with Sean. Now I'll say it like this. If you're in a space where you are like living with somebody and all this stuff like that, as a man, if you have a plan and you're sticking to this plan, then I can rock with you. You don't have to have it all the way together, because some of us don't always have it all the way together. Like some of us actually get pushed out and it be hard. Some of us been catered too long and then we get off the mama's teat and it's be hard. So it's like a lot of different reasons why you might not have it together. Shoot, you might have had all your money in the market and it crashed. I do not know. But if you have a plan and you're working on that plan, I can rock with you. That's what I was saying about him. That was the only big gripe that I had with him. Is when she was sitting here questioning and he was with the excuses. It was I haven't had time to look. I haven't did this or whatever. Yet you're on this game show right now. You have time for this show right now. So this makes no sense to me. You have time to look for love, but you don't have time to look for a place to stay. That don't make sense to me. So that right there is where it's like, okay, no. I'm with Sean when it comes to Corvaya on that. It's like, okay, brother, now you just sound crazy.
That's fair. That's fair. That was a fair point. Got time to look for love, but you got time to find a room. What you doing? You doing it backwards? No, I hear you. I'm not mad at it. I do hear you on that. Do you know what I mean? Personally, like I said, I think, like I agree with you, Jay. As long as you got a plan at that point, I mean, I'm not mad at it. Do you know what I mean? Because like, hey, we're only dating. We say this, but every season, there's somebody on Married at First Sight who's living with their flatmate and then goes to get married at first sight. So it happens. Look, but you just need to have a plan. That's it. Knowing that you have a plan, you're ready to move. I think that's the key thing here. Forget the plan. You're ready to move. I think that's the key thing. Are you set up and ready to move? Is their finances ready? Like, is your mindset ready to move? Because once you get into space, if you're going to get somewhere, you're going to have to move. I think it's fine up until a point in time when you get married. If you don't get married, then you're ready. You're ready to move. But while you're still dating or whatever, that's not really the most important thing. I'll be honest with you, it's not. But I understand, coming from our culture of independence, especially coming from our culture in Western society, it is crucial to have the independence because we come from that particular society. I'll be honest with you, you come back from our cultures of Africa and Caribbean, it's slightly different. I'll be honest with you, it's slightly different. We move out when we're married. Okay, when you're ready to marry, that's when you're out. Okay, so it depends on the culture, but from us Western society, I agree with you. You know what I mean? Like, from the Western society, you should have your own place, you should have your own thing. But seeing as he is much more of the culture of Caribbean culture, I see why he had no problem with moving with his brother. As for me, if you try to move in with me, I'm gonna tell you, get your own place. Don't try it. I tell my sister, hey, stop thinking about my place. It's not here. The spare room is not for you. You come and sleep at night, and that's it. You keep on moving, right? Because I'm from the Western culture, but because he's not, I think he will see things differently. But yeah, for me, I'm born and bred in this Western culture. Don't think about it. Okay, I told my siblings, you get kicked out, don't look at me. Don't breathe. Don't see.
He's
Don't
in
call me.
Miami,
Yeah.
which is the Western hemisphere, and he's
Mm.
on Ready to Love, which is a Western show.
Yeah.
He ain't in Ready to Love Jamaica by way of 90 Day Fiance, by way of, Love Without Borders. He's on Ready to Love. Ready to Love is a Western show with American culture and people that are looking to get married here in America.
But
And
he's not
falling off
culturally
here.
inclined that
It's
way.
not.
Well, then you go and find a place that is aligned to you. So that shows me his judgment is off. Because if you are bringing your values and mindset from a different culture and looking to mix and mingle with people that are completely different and wanting them to accept that, you need to go where your options are going to be more plentiful.
But it's nice to have culture. It's not because you're from the Western culture that everything from the Western culture might be the best, right? Like, for example, when it comes, what Kojo said about a lot of people, like I'm not going to put him on blast, but my brother, he still lives with my parents, and he's over 30, but he has a lot of money saved. The goal of him, because the parents, they don't want him to leave and like until he marries. But whenever he's going to get married, they're probably going to move into a huge house because my parents set up everything for him to be in a situation that when he leaves them, he's set for, I don't want to say for life, but there's going to be things that he's not going to go through, right? That I probably had to go through because I left France to come and move to America and live the American way. My brother is not going to have those difficulties that I had, and those are advantages. I'm just saying, those are advantages. A lot of us would be able to stay at our parents until we have enough to go buy ourselves houses. And I've seen people in America that do that. They just
I'm not unfamiliar with that part of it. I'm just saying I think he can do multiple things at the same time. Now, if he is in a position of not being financially stable, because listen, I'm following the chain of events, and I guess my banker hat is clicking off. And to me, I'm looking at the chain of events from him living in a place that he was put out of and then had to go live with his brother, and then doesn't have a plan, which speaks to what's happening next. It's very up in the air. And then when I look at his career, right, being in the nightlife industry, typically that's not the most stable of jobs unless you are like really a top big promoter. And there's so many promoters in Miami because it's a big club scene. So all these things just are sending off little red flags in my head saying he might not be the most stable of person. Right?
Got you.
And let me add to in other cultures, being I am a first generation American, my aunts and uncles did live with each other at one point, and that's because they probably didn't make as much money as we do, right? And most of us in Western culture now are able to actually afford to get on our feet and have like even a studio, as you said. If you're ready to love, then you should have been ready to move and already have something of your own. So I understand both parts. I get the culture differences where a lot of families from other countries do live at home until they get married. That is a natural progression of things. America or wherever you guys are at in England, there might be more opportunity for you to earn more income. Therefore, you can be independent sooner. So Lyndon might be in that middle, right? Miami is very, very diverse, and even on the show, you have a lot of people that are from Haiti, Dominican Republic, I believe, or they're international people on this dating show that probably could understand his cultural background and see, okay, I see why you might be living with your brother. But Sean, you did make a point. It's not like he was living with his brother or parents forever. He had a place, got kicked out. He does give frat boy vibes, definitely. So yeah, there's this like, okay, where, I love that. Are you ready to move or are you ready to love? So, get that together. I believe in a natural order of things. And if you're not at a certain place, maybe you're not ready to have that next level of things. So yeah, we can agree on some things here.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, I hear people saying, it's American to push people out. Listen, I'm American as apple pie. And I was in my house with my mother until I think I was like 29 years old. And then I moved out. I got my own place. I mean, I had a full-time job and everything. And, was doing well, but I stayed until I could live exactly in the neighborhood that I wanted to live in, that was close to my job, easy to get to the city. And I did it. And guess what happened once I started moving out on my own? I was able to be more serious in relationships, be more invested in relationships, because when I was home, I was dipping and dodging. You know what I'm saying? So once you move out, you start paying bills and getting stable. That's when you can really be successful in a serious relationship. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you can live at home as long as you want. You can do whatever you want to do. But once you want to bring somebody else into the mix, you need to be ready. And that's all I'm saying. Like, I don't care what you do. Like, I don't like. So I just wanted that part to be clear.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think they can. I guess I'm trying to give a bit more nuance to it, just to say that, I do understand where people are coming from. I don't disagree. I grew up in a Western culture as well, so I don't disagree necessarily. But I would say that obviously the story was that his place got sold, right? His place got sold, so he got quickly evicted. And an eviction is not like is his fault. He ends up in his brother's place. He's a nightlife manager. In his head, he might be thinking, blood, I don't need to spend money getting to a new place right now, blood. I'm just quickly, you know what I mean? My job, I'm not even at the house much. I'll just stay here for a little while, whatever. If the right girl comes along, I'm ready to move. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's not important as such. Now, the key questions are, I think what Sam was even saying was, first of all, have you got money in your account? Because if you ain't, we're not talking about the same thing, bro. You need to focus. You need to stay at your brother's house, and get your money up, right? Number two, are you ready to move? Is your mindset in that space that if you do get to a time when you need to, get more serious with the girl, whatever, is your money ready? Is your money ready so you can actually move? Do you know what I'm saying? I think those are more critical questions to be asking of him. But I'm also aware, like I said, that coming from Western culture, how it will also be perceived. That this will look like you're not very independent, and that, you know what, for you personally, he may not be ready to be in a relationship, and I can understand that. So I'm not going to disagree that point. I'm just saying there could be, it could be you know, nuance to that conversation in terms of the details. But we would need to know more. That's the thing. We would need to know more. Like in terms of when did he get kicked out? You know what I mean? How long has this been happening? How long has he been living at his brother's house for? Like, does he have a plan? Does he see further along? Like, you know what I mean? Like those kind of questions, so we can get a bit more information. But I do agree, this could look like a red flag with him staying at his brother's house since he was living on his own originally. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I definitely don't disagree that what points you guys are making. You know, yes, high vibe. What's his credit score exactly? You know what I mean? That's it. You know, that's important. You know, Stray Max said, "I've been outside the house since I was 20 years old, and it was my choice to leave. I've never regretted it." And Sean's correct. I was definitely looked at as more mature because I was living on my own. Okay, that's fair. You know, I ain't mad at that. You know,
like I said, I'm not mad at him going to stay with family. Look, my family, we got about 2 houses that you go on hard times, you can always call them people up, and that's the house you go to. We done been in and out, back and forth, and all these things like that. It's just that when the question was posed, if he would have stood on, I'm at my brother's house, it is what it is, and left it like that, I would have rocked with him. It was the shakiness in the answer, the rest of it for me, that was like, what are we doing?
inspiring.
How long? Yeah, how long this has been happening? That's what brought it up the more. And like I said, when we first had this conversation about this whole topic, I was not